African National Congress, ANC, veteran Tony Yengeni has offered his thoughts on the growing diplomatic tensions between Rwanda and South Africa. This follows Rwandan President Paul Kagame's warning that if South Africa goes to war, his army is ready for battle. Following President Cyril Ramaphosa's warning to Kagame that South Africa would intervene if the M23 rebel group, which is allegedly supported by Rwanda, persisted in attacking South African troops deployed to the Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC, tensions escalated. Recent clashes with the M23 have resulted in casualties for the South African National Defense Force, raising questions about the security of its peacekeeping effort in the region. In response to Ramaphosa's comments, Kagame made it clear that Rwanda would not back down from a battle. His military is ready for any conflict, he said. This obstinate stance has sparked a controversy in South Africa's political circles, and Yengeni was among the first to openly address it. "We won't start a war for unimportant issues." Kagame's remarks were categorically denied by Yengeni, who said, "We will not." The ANC veteran's stance suggests that he does not think a military confrontation with Rwanda is a necessary or feasible course of action. Yengeni's reaction comes as pressure mounts on the South African government to make clear its stance on the events in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. The extent of South Africa's involvement in the area and whether diplomatic alternatives are being carefully studied have drawn criticism from analysts and opposition parties. In order to solve the issue, it is also expected that the ANC administration would engage in high-level talks with regional and global organizations. The African Union and the Southern African Development Community may play a significant role in preventing the situation from worsening. South Africans will be closely watching how Ramaphosa's government resolves this diplomatic impasse as tensions continue to rise. Whether South Africa and Rwanda can defuse tensions via dialogue is still up in the air. Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, has once again warned South Africa that if Pretoria decides to pursue conflict rather than negotiation, Rwanda is ready to retaliate. Kagame's comments coincide with rising political and security tensions between the two countries. During a recent news conference, Kagame discussed what he called South Africa's ongoing animosity against Rwanda, namely the claims that Rwanda is responsible for security risks on South African territory. Rwanda will handle the situation appropriately if South Africa chooses conflict over diplomatic resolution, Kagame said. South Africa's claims that Rwanda is connected to the murder attempts on Rwandan dissidents living in South Africa are the main cause of the long-lasting diplomatic tension between the two countries. Rwanda has rejected these accusations as politically driven, while Pretoria has consistently denounced what it alleges is Kigali's meddling in its domestic affairs. South African authorities have responded to Kagame's comments by calling for diplomatic and nonviolent dialogue and reaffirming Pretoria's commitment to regional stability. However, since both countries have significant influence in continental affairs, the continued tensions have raised worries within the African Union and other regional organizations. Kagame's most recent remarks highlight Kigali's willingness to react to any perceived threats, even though Rwanda has insisted that it desires collaboration with all African countries. It remains to be seen whether this intensifying rhetoric would encourage both nations to engage in talks or cause further diplomatic repercussions. Paul Kagame, the president of Rwanda, accused the South African government of providing distorted information during a recent phone conversation on the current crisis in Goma, in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo, DRC. The latest heated confrontation was sparked by allegations of violence that murdered 13 personnel of the South African National Defense Force, SANDF, stationed in the hazardous region. Rwanda's president, Kagame, who is widely seen as a strongman, wasted no effort in accusing Pretoria of spreading incorrect information and misrepresenting the circumstances of their talk. According to the sources, Kagame and South African President Cyril Ramaphosa had a conversation after the SANDF soldiers' unfortunate deaths, which have generated a great deal of grief and outrage in South Africa. Kagame expressed his annoyance in his remarks, denouncing the South African government's version of their meeting as lies and distortion. He implied that South Africa's version of events at Goma and their conversation was wholly false, but he did not elaborate.